Thank you very much indeed, and it's a great pleasure to be here this afternoon. Smart construction is starting to transform the way in which design, construction and facilities management is being carried out in the UK. And what I'm going to do is describe the journey that both government and industry have been following over the last 4 years and where we're heading for the future. Back in 2010, the Treasury Department of the UK government was concerned that construction in the UK was apparently costing significantly more than elsewhere in Europe. So it launched an investigation into ways of reducing the cost of the UK's major public and private infrastructure projects. And its aim was to identify savings of some 15 to 20% in the cost of infrastructure projects, which would be worth some £2.7 billion per annum, or 3.3 billion euros. And the review identified a number of drivers for the higher cost of construction. And in March 2011, it set out a work programme to deliver savings. Key outputs from this review include the creation of an infrastructure client working group to share learning and best practice across major clients. And much of the savings were intended to come from better industry collaboration and improved design and construction processes. The second initiative is the Government Construction Strategy. The construction sector in the UK represents some 7 to 8% of GDP and employs over 2 million people in the UK. It therefore has a strategic role to play in delivering the infrastructure upon which economic growth depends. The UK government is a key client to the industry, with central government spending around £10 billion a year on building prisons, roads, hospitals, schools, etc. So the government is well placed to use this spend to have a strong influence on industry practice. So launched in May of 2011, the Government Construction Strategy aims to reduce the cost of construction commissioned by the UK government by 15 to 20% over the life of the current Parliament. In other words, by May of next year, 2015. And the savings from this initiative are expected to be £2 billion or 2.4 billion euros over that 4-year period. The introduction of Building Information Modelling, or BIM, is an integral part of the Government Construction Strategy. And we're starting to see some impressive efficiencies being realised in the UK. On the first Building Information Modelling Level 2 Early Adopter project, the client was able to identify £800,000 worth of efficiency savings at the outset of the project, reducing the project cost by 20%. So this digital way of working, virtually constructing a facility, not only helps the client to work out problems in the design stage, it also allows for a more collaborative approach where subcontractors from every specialism can input critical information into the model before building begins. And the UK government is now requiring the use of BIM at level 2 on all centrally procured projects, irrespective of value, by 2016. The latest initiative is the publication of an industrial strategy for construction in the UK, Construction 2025. Now, this is an initiative that I've been working on, and it was published in July of 2013. Construction 2025 is a partnership between industry and government, and together industry and government have created a vision of where they jointly wish UK construction to be in the year 2025 and how we're going to get there together. And it starts with a vision of a world very different from the past, and in many ways very different from today, where buildings and infrastructure are conceived and built much faster, with greater whole life value and better carbon and energy performance. And with construction driving growth across the whole economy, with UK companies working in partnership in markets overseas. And the vision is that by 2025, construction in the UK has been radically transformed. The strategy has some bold joint ambitions for 2025, ambitions that are agreed jointly between industry and government. A 33% reduction in both the initial cost of construction and the whole life cost of assets. And note here the emphasis on whole life costs. A 50% reduction in the overall time from inception to completion for new build and refurbished assets. A 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions in the built environment. And this is in line with our low carbon route map to 2050. And a 50% reduction in the trade gap between total exports and total imports for construction products and materials. So, better, faster, lower carbon and reduced trade gap. Now, we're not going to achieve these ambitions by small incremental changes. This requires the industry to do things very differently. The strategy has 5 broad themes: people, smart, sustainable, growth, and leadership. And the first theme is people. People are at the heart of construction. We must attract, develop, retain the right people for this industry. We need construction to become an industry of choice. So we're focusing on enhancing the image of the industry, improving the conditions under which we work, increasing the capability in the workforce, and changing the diversity of the industry. Second theme is smart. Technology is moving fast, including in construction. We're moving quickly towards a digital economy which is starting to have some profound implications for the built environment. And we want to ensure that UK construction is and remains at the vanguard of smart construction and digital design. And I'm going to say more about the smart strand of the strategy a little bit later. Smart technology and the use of greater innovation are vital components of our transformation programme. The third theme is sustainable. The transition to a low carbon economy presents the industry with terrific opportunities for growth. And we must find more and more ways to reduce both embedded carbon and operating carbon emissions through innovative designs and processes. And BIM has an important role in supporting this area of work. The fourth theme is growth. The global construction market is set to see growth of over 4% per year until the end of the decade, with substantial growth opportunities coming from emerging economies. The UK has a global reputation for architecture, design and engineering, and has a strong reputation for collaborative forms of contract and ethical business practices. And these provide great opportunities for economic growth. And the fifth and final theme is leadership. Construction 2025 has strong support from across the industry and across government. And we've now created a new body to own and implement the strategy, the Construction Leadership Council. So my task now is to work with this council and with industry bodies to make this strategy happen. Let me say more about smart construction. As I outlined above, we're moving quickly towards a digital economy, and we've made a good start through the Building Information Modelling Programme, or BIM. As we move forward, these digital approaches to design, manufacture, assembly, facilities management, they're starting to transform the way in which construction is carried out. And as I've said, some impressive efficiencies are being realised, with around 20% savings being demonstrated on some projects. Government has mandated the use of BIM on all centrally procured government construction contracts by 2016, and private sector clients are starting to follow suit. But the opportunities from BIM are vastly greater. Only through the implementation of digital techniques will we be able to deliver more sustainable buildings more quickly and efficiently, with far less process waste. And BIM is also critical to the successful implementation of a wider off-site manufacturing strategy. The benefits of off-site construction include greater precision and quality, reducing overall time in manufacture and assembly, and safer and cleaner working conditions. And we're seeking to remove barriers to the use of off-site construction for appropriate circumstances. We're seeing the emergence of technologies in sensors and data management that will become embedded in our assets, enabling performance to be constantly monitored. And this will drive substantial efficiency gains in facilities and asset management. So adopting these new innovative technologies will provide asset owners with a full understanding of the performance of their assets, both during construction and throughout their design life. And this will result in smarter designs, less material, reduced carbon, and needing less labour for construction, whilst still ensuring full resilience of the assets. So again, this is transformational. The commitment in Construction 2025 is to build the UK's competitive advantage in smart construction and digital design through something called the Digital Built Britain Agenda. And government and industry is also committed to work with academic and research communities to bring forward more research, development and demonstration, and to promote it to the wider industry, and to work to remove barriers to innovation. So our vision for 2025 is an industry that is efficient and technologically advanced. I've already said that the UK government has mandated the use of level 2 BIM for all centrally procured government projects by 2016. Let me briefly explain this diagram. Level 0 is essentially unmanaged 2D CAD with users exchanging design information on paper, or you could say on electronic paper, e.g. via email. Level 1 is managed CAD in a 2D or 3D format with a collaborative platform and providing a common data environment and a standardized approach to data structures and formats. And here, commercial data is managed by standalone finance or cost management packages with no integration between them. Level 2 BIM maturity is a series of domain and collaborative federated models consisting of both 3D geometrical and non-graphical data prepared by different parties during the project lifecycle within the context of a common data environment. The project participants provide defined, validated outputs via digital data transactions using proprietary information exchanges between various systems in a structured and reusable form. Level 3 focuses on delivery of a fully integrated, collaborative process supported by web services, and it uses industry foundation class, IFC standards. These data exchange standards are still in development, and it includes 4D construction sequencing, 5D cost information, and 6D project lifecycle management information. Now, it's likely that level 3 will be about seamlessly assimilating data from the asset delivery process and then incorporating smart technologies to provide a basis for whole life cycle modelling. And this will allow an asset to be optimised for whole life cost and whole life carbon footprint. So our current goal is to achieve level 2 BIM maturity on all centrally procured government projects by 2016. And early indications from these projects we have operating at level 2 are seeing these very impressive savings. There are now over 20 early adopter projects in the pipeline, totaling a combined value of over £800 million from across 7 government departments. And these cover buildings and infrastructure and encompass both new build and refurbishment, with projects ranging in sizes from £5 million to £100 million. And this demonstrates significant progress and appetite from departments in adopting BIM within standard procurement practices and operations, positioning the departments perfectly for increasing the rollout of BIM across projects and making it business as usual. This slide shows how data from Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 and Tier 4 suppliers is fed into a single BIM model. The project life cycle is depicted vertically down the slide from inception at the top through the design and construction stages to operation and maintenance at the bottom of the slide. And the client then receives the data via a series of controlled data drops, shown as green circles on the slide. And the various contracting tiers of the supply chain are shown on the left-hand side. And you can see how data from lower tiers is issued to the next tier up and ultimately through to the client. All suppliers work on the same model, and this removes duplication, avoids clashes and inconsistencies, and removes significant process waste. BIM also encourages, perhaps even forces, collaboration throughout the supply chain. It's essential for suppliers to collaborate with one another to develop the overall design. Now, this, of course, is an oversimplification of the BIM process, but I think it illustrates some of the key features. So, in summary, smart construction is central to the transformation of construction in the UK and the achievement of our long-term ambitions. Our transformation strategy, Construction 2025, is a partnership between industry and government with both parties as equal partners. The UK government has mandated the use of Level 2 BIM for all centrally procured projects by 2016, and good progress is being made on this. The construction industry is progressively adopting the use of BIM in both the public and private sectors, so this BIM revolution is becoming unstoppable. And the UK government is now developing Level 3 BIM in partnership with industry and academia. And I have no doubt that building information modelling is a key contributor to delivering construction projects faster, more efficiency, and with greater whole life value. Smart construction is starting to transform the way we design, construct and maintain buildings and infrastructure. So I think construction is becoming a very exciting industry. Thank you.